Important day for our program. Getting a chance to have a berth in the CFP, the playoffs here. Just something our guys been working for. Going back really the beginning of January, so 11 months, and the work paying off and everything we did this season leading to this opportunity. Obviously, a team that we know well with Oklahoma, one that came here and obviously was a battle, was a physical game, and came out on the wrong side. But looking forward to third meeting in less than 2 years, or really just probably 12 or 13 months, and so each team knows what to expect, know each other well, and know it'll be a hard fought game.
All right. Thank you, Coach. We'll go ahead and start with Charlie Potter.
Yeah, hey coach. Just want to see if you had an update on Xavier Brown and Justin Jefferson. I know both those guys left the game last night. Just maybe an early outlook for this playoff game.
We haven't met and got the report, but just going off of last night, I would expect with the severity that they'll both be good to go with the whole week off here and stuff. So,
Let's go to Joe Gaither next.
Coach, with the matchup against Oklahoma, the rematch on deck, obviously it's set. What's the biggest thing that you're going to be looking at outside of the turnovers from the last matchup to improve upon?
yeah, no, that's a good question. Because that was a really important part of the game, the field position in general, and that's you get to this point and you're playing the top tier teams. That's what it is, right? It's getting short field. It's making your own breaks. The turnovers, the special teams play. That's when field position can be flipped the quickest. And so I think just consistent execution. We moved the ball, but it wasn't as consistent as it needed to be. We were, maybe in the fourth quarter, not able to get that drive, and I haven't really gone back and reviewed the film, but it wasn't that long ago. So coming up short at the end of the game was disappointing because that's something we've done a pretty good job of. And so, yeah, I mean, other than the turnovers, because we got down in their territory and had the big play was the interception for a touchdown. But there's more plays to it than that. There's things that happen that, you'll go back to, but there's things that obviously we'll evaluate and make adjustments to what we saw and what the original plan was.
Colin Gay up next.
Hey, Kalen. Saw a lot of Damani Jackson against Georgia. I would assume that Damani's season overall hasn't been how he thought it would go. How would you assess how he played yesterday and kind of how he's handled kind of the role that he's been in over the past, say, this season, I guess?
Yeah, as far as like the detailed grading of the film and things like that, haven't got to that. Watched it, since last night. The thing I'll say about Damani is it was a slow start this year, and just coming off of a lot of things that he was taking care of physically, and but I'll give Damani a ton of credit. The second half here, there's a lot of guys that the rotation that we were working with Dijon coming in and playing more snaps. A lot of guys, could have handled a different way, and he just had the right mindset. He just went back to work. I couldn't be more proud of the way he responded, and knowing that he would be heavily involved. He knew that this was a great opportunity, and so I'm sure there's things again that we'll get to that you can do better. I think that would be the case anytime you have for sure a loss, but I thought I'm really proud of the way he has responded this latter part of the season, the second half here, and so he's been in the rotation. He'll continue to stay in it, and I'm proud of him.
Okay, next we'll go to Matt Stahl.
Hey, Kalen. There's been a few teams that have opted to just take their name out of the bowl pool completely. Had you guys not made the field, was that something you guys had given any thought to?
No, we had never had that conversation. No, no.
Let's go to Chase Goodbread next.
Yeah, Coach, you mentioned last night that you guys were pretty banged up injury wise, and would be good to go in a couple weeks. I'm sure the Georgia game itself dinged you up a little bit more. Just in general, do you think conference championship games present a disadvantage for participants having to play that 13th game late in the year when other teams that are behind you in the conference standings are just clear sailing into the playoff with only having to play the 12 games?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think I could probably answer that question right now, and then next year it'd be a different dynamic, and I might have a different answer for you. I know that we went into that game, we wanted to win it. It's been a traditional thing. What I've told you all week long, or said all week long about the importance of this game to our program, I meant it. You know, obviously, Georgia did a great job, really controlling the tone of the game, really there with that. Once the block punt started, I felt like we were back and forth there. It was a physical game even right away, and trying to establish that both sides. And then the field position thing kicked in there with a couple of drives back to back with the punt and then the interception too. And so I think getting back to your question, like it's such a valued thing here, especially in the SEC, to win the conference championship and to be in that moment, be in that platform. Obviously, we on the wrong end of it, but that's something that's above me. We'll have to continue to evaluate that, but I think I still want to have that be a part of it. And the question I think mainly is like, how is it going to impact you and us being in the playoff? Hopefully gives people, hope that you can continue to have these conference championships, maybe tweak a few things to make sure you got the right teams in them each and every year, kind of thinking about other conferences and that it can mean something both in that moment and also, have a positive impact or, what you think it should be going to the playoff.
Okay, next we'll go to Katie Wyndham.
Yeah, hey Kalen, just kind of what have the last 24-ish hours been like for the team, and kind of what was the reaction to getting in the field, their seating, and did, the guys watch the show together and kind of just how did all of that go down?
Yeah, no, game with it just being last night, they were certainly down, poured a lot into that. That's one of our goals from the beginning of the year. Just when you don't control your own destiny now and you're putting it in someone else's hands. I know there's so many good teams in the country. You don't know. And so we did not, and this was from the beginning, we did not have anything set up for today. We're meeting tomorrow morning at 9:00. And so, there's things that we have where we can communicate with the team. And I just know that their response has been a lot of excitement, as down as they were last night. I think they're excited and ready for the next opportunity because they know that this is the next goal, the next one in the chronological line, and competing in the playoffs and what that can mean with a potential national championship opportunity. That's where we're at. But I can't wait to see them tomorrow and we can talk about it. But I haven't seen the team since last night.
Okay, we'll go to Nick Kelly. Nick, you there? Go ahead. Okay, let's just move past Nick.
Got to unmute Nick.
Okay, it says Mike's not working. Nick, just go ahead and type your question in the chat and I'll ask it for you. Let's go to Josh McDaniel with OU Daily next.
Yeah, so OU's Eli Bowen had a big pick six the last game, and then even last year in 24, he had an interception too. And so between him and then also other OU defensive players, how do you think the offensive scheme can be changed a bit to prevent OU from having big defensive plays?
Yeah, I think, every game you play, 1 year to the next, and obviously this one's happening in a shorter amount of time. There's always things you're going to tweak and learn from. We moved the ball much better this year in different ways, and we'll take some of those things and build off of them, and then we just again got to understand what really hurt us and how we got to counter that. So. Those turnovers, the interceptions that you're referring to, huge plays. And, that we always talk about we always talk about you create your own breaks and make your own breaks by playing hard and playing smart and playing fast. And that's certainly what Coach Venables has, with his team and as you're referring to, the defense. And so one of the best in the country, and I think it's what you got here is you got two really strong defense. I look across the playoffs and the picture there. I think the defenses certainly that you have each and every week are strong. Looks like across the country in the playoff field.
Okay, Coach, I'm going to ask Nick's question for him. You expressed optimism about several guys who've been out returning, and he wanted to ask specifically about LT Overton, Jam Miller, and Josh Cuevas. Do you expect all three to be available for Oklahoma?
Yeah, I don't know exactly on that. I know there's Jam, I feel, is probably the farthest along. If I really kind of put that kind of in order, feel really that he's got a really strong chance of being not just available, but ready to go at a level he can compete and do some good things for us. And Josh will be he's on his way. He's kind of just got to keep evaluating with him. I'm holding on to some pretty good hope, but we'll see. He hasn't seen our training staff yet today, but every day here now, the next 4 or 5 days, they all matter. They all matter for all these guys, and then we'll continue to evaluate just where LT's at, and add Kelby Collins to the mix there too with some of their illnesses and stuff like that they're going through. So. I'm optimistic on a lot of these guys. I think the other part is just so many guys that in the last 2 to 3 weeks have even go back to the Oklahoma game. A number of our guys got dinged up and, just grinding through it. Some of the guys, I don't think if it was someone else, they probably wouldn't have played, but our guys wanted to get out there last night and go compete, do everything they could to help the team out.
Okay, let's go to, we have a follow-up from Charlie Potter. Go ahead, Charlie.
Yeah, Coach, just when you look at the offense, maybe how concerning is it that the run game hasn't been able to get going with the -3 yards against Georgia? Obviously, Georgia has a good defense, but going into a matchup with another stout defense, how concerning is maybe the offensive trends here of late?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think a lot of that is getting some guys healthy, not just running backs, but offensive line. And I think that the next, Cam Dewberry will be back. We lost Gino last night, but he'll be back just based on that evaluation there. And I think, Parker, where he'll be, he improved quite a bit from the Auburn game. And with this time, I would expect him pretty much at 100% going into the Oklahoma game. So that's a big deal. It's a big deal there. And so I think those things you build off of. The game, gets away from you last night and the second half, I know it wasn't like we were moving it there in the first half either, that the way you want, but it really gets away from you. And then, something that we didn't have established in the first half just becomes something you really can't get going at all in the second.
Okay, next we'll go to Emily Grace McWhorter. Go ahead.
Hey, Coach, we talked a lot about going into the Georgia game, how it's just a lot different preparing for a team that you saw in week 4 because you're just going to have different improvements, different regressions. You guys just saw OU less than a month ago. Are there any benefits that come along with that as you guys prepare? And if so, what are those benefits?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you have a much better idea of, and you watch the film, we all get that. So even with the Georgia rematch, that was something you can kind of see the growth of their team. What our team has had as far as growth. But like you said, it's certainly much tighter as far as the timeline here. And so you have a better understanding, and again, I'm sure some guys that were dinged up for them, probably just knowing, the schedule and how we all are at that point of the year. I'm sure, Oklahoma's looking to get some guys back, including, probably a continued stronger quarterback with Mateer, and so I know that that's the case, the thing that draws a lot of attention on their end, but, we're looking forward to this rematch.
Okay, we got another follow-up, this time from Colin Gay.
Hey, Kalen. I know you were asked about Ty specifically last night, but what was your post game, your conversation like with him post game, in terms of, I guess, continuing to encourage him as he struggles and kind of, as you guys prepare for this next step? What have you seen from his demeanor? What have you seen from his, I guess, outlook on how he's played as of late?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not a lot of time to. I don't see him. They go to the plane as soon as they got done with with the press conference, I go do some radio and other things like that. And literally they're waiting for me on the plane. When I get there, we land. And so it's just a matter of just, real quick, keep your head up and we got this. A couple small things can lead to big things, and we don't need to make it bigger than it is. And we just got to keep chipping away, much like I talked about weeks ago with the run game. I know I didn't show it last night, but there was a lot of improvement in what I look at the Oklahoma game and the Auburn game. We were one of the top 3 teams in rushing in SEC games against both of those teams. And so, being persistent and just staying the course, addressing things, you do have to acknowledge and address and be truthful. But small things, and sometimes it's not just you, it's everyone around you, just everyone picking up their game and doing their part. That can go a long ways to a much higher level of success that I know we all expect.
Okay, looks like that's it. Thank you, Coach. Appreciate the time.
Yeah, thank you guys.